it's really important that the cinematography provide to do that justice. What was the next part of your question?
It was actually the first part.
Oh, right, okay.
More about, probably it's more for Carrie to
Yeah.
answer, which was more about the inspiration for the scenes in the landscape. I'm just wondering, did you get the inspiration for the story when you saw the place beforehand, or was it vice versa?
Do you want me to take it? Yeah. So, Ewan is asking about the inspiration for the story in the relationship to the landscape, and also how Ryan and I worked together capturing that. So Ryan's just replied that, just a quick catch up for the people who've missed the first bit of the screening, that we've worked together and we understand what we're in tune with, and we've got a similar kind of, we basically like the same films, so that really helps. But in terms of, yeah, I think I absolutely love Aaron, and I love the idea of the liminal edges and what islands provide for us. So it's a matter of kind of going to the island and seeing what kind of sanctuary it brings for me. But it's the stone really. I think I'm just very, very connected to rock and the standing stones as well, and just like there's something around the holding of that. So I wanted to get as close to, you know, the cave was a home, the rock was a home, and it's a standing stone that, you know, what was going on there. I think most people are confused by the film when they first see it, and then watch it again. So yeah, I'd say that I spent a lot of time on Aaron, just listening to the land and then thinking, what were the ancients up to? I think that's a big part of it as well. And then in terms of working with Ryan came off of basically a year's masters with back-to-back shoots, and then I think it was the day after finishing the final shoot we were working together. So we had to wing it a bit really, didn't we? But I think he's just stellar, what the shots that came through there. Does that answer your question? Yeah, thanks, Ewan.
I think looking at the nature scenes and the big garden, it feels quite spiritual. Is that what you wanted to capture?
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, and I think there's so many different ways of understanding what spiritual is, or different words for it, isn't it? But yeah, I wanted to really transmit the idea that sometimes it's only nature that can help us through things, and you know there are kind of, there's a bigger force at work, and that's what I think is the force in story as well. So yeah, but I don't know quite how you get that on a film. It's something around just spending time, isn't it, with, yeah, and also the amazing acting, to be honest. I think what you two, that space you two managed to create together was, took you to, and also the role of Mara as the shepherdess, and her understanding of nature, and when Linda really needed, she didn't know what she was doing really. But yeah, does that answer your question? Yeah, thank you. Anton.
The practical thing to link up with working with nature and the land and the history of the land. And I heard that you had help with a farmer that provided the qualified, which is a great team, I thought. And that kind of idea of the sheep that they need to be tended, so it's like living with nature, but also earning a living within nature. So there's themes there as well. And also getting access to the caves, it must have been very tricky with different types of weather and things like that. So I think you've done really well.
Thank you. Does anybody want to say anything about the journey to the caves? Because it was like a film in itself. Who wants to talk about the journey to the caves?
Over you, I think so.
Do you want to answer it together?
The journey
Yeah, it was great. I think that element of having to carry everything with you. I mean, the crew did such an amazing job getting there earlier and getting everything set up and ready, and like that's such a stressful position to be in, to be having to create this space with all of these external factors involved. I just, hats off to them. And we had a really interesting moment in the caves where we had lots of people on their holidays. Do you remember this? All of us, and lots of kids running around on the beach trying to do the scene, and kids trying to come into the space and questioning, and this curiosity, which was so beautiful and what we wanted, but also at the complete wrong time, but trying to facilitate that. I think everyone on the outside of that work and that protecting that space, everyone did really well to do that, I think, within those circumstances.
Yes. Actually, I do remember one little boy who was so curious about the filming process, and he wanted to be part of it, so he would kind of heckle and just he would come and ask questions just when they were about to go action, and then we'd had to do it again, but he needed managing a little bit, but I was that child. I was that child once upon a time, so I really empathised with him, and I loved them that about it. That it was actually possible to interact with the audience without getting because you couldn't get irate, you couldn't get cross, because they were had every bit as much right to be there as we did, if not more, because they were expecting total peace and quiet to admire the caves. But the actual journey was good. I enjoyed the journey every day because it was so much space to prepare, and on our first day I was really worried that I don't have my word perfect, and the more you try the worse it gets. But actually we just had a good chat on the way there, and by the time we got to the caves I was like, I've got this.
Do you want to say anything, any of you three?
Yeah,
one little thing was that I'm constantly thinking about kit things and thinking about batteries and lenses and cables, and so there was a lot of nervous checks right before we left, and right at the end of the day I was padding around in the dark looking to check that we'd not left anything behind. So
I think the main thing I remember from it was kind of just being a bit stressed out about whether we'd left people behind or something, because I think it would often be split in a couple groups, so I would always just be looking over my shoulder, are they there? So that's kind of what I remembered about the whole thing. Yeah.
And you had to have a complete makeup and costume.
Yeah, so I had quite an interesting day filming in the caves, where I basically arrived, got stripped off, changed into the goat man, and like Julie was saying, there was a lot of kind of tourists going around, and I did wonder if they thought maybe this was some kind of cult meeting going on and what they stumbled onto. So yeah, it was a bit of a different angle.
and the midges at the hotel.
Oh sure, yeah.
The midges.
Yeah, Ryan was just saying that the midges at the hotel scene where me and Aaron were filming the music, and that was kind of constant, so it was amazing that you didn't actually see that come through in the end video. So
That's a tough one.
Yeah, when we were editing it, we were noticing the midge bite,
Noticing the mosquito bite on Aaron's face, and he just carried on throughout it all, didn't he? Yeah. Anybody else, Alice?
I absolutely loved it. I loved all of it, everything about it. I loved the visuals and I loved the acting and the story. But I suppose I was maybe especially fascinated by the bringing in of the magic in the ancient Gaelic tradition. And I was just wondering if, while you were there, did the story kind of seep into your lives, or did you have any uncanny experiences?
coming to Julia. Thanks for that.
We did have something.
So Alice
You
is just
remember
asking
it.
about any uncanny things that happened.
You have to help, Carrie. There was
What
something.
was
We
it?
had a synchronistic event around the bones.
Bones.
Yeah, something occurred where
Yeah, that did.
I knew about the bones, and I told you about the bones.
Yeah, but I can't remember what it is. But we did have a moment like that. Yeah.
But we were very synchronistically tuned in anyway because Carrie has fallen in love with my home, my original
Yeah, so
home.
I didn't say that Julia is from Arran and Alexis's mother.
Half from Ireland.
Yeah, half from Arran, is that how you explain it? Yeah. So that was really beautiful, having, you know, that indigenous element there as well.
You kept reading my mind actually, I think.
Did I?
Yeah. Just various things you would do, like you would write into the script something that I hadn't mentioned to you or hadn't occurred between us in conversation, but you just wrote it in. The stone thing I really chime with. I don't think we ever talked about that. I'm obsessed with stones, and I grew up and I spent a lot of time in the caves and things with my pal.
Yeah.
But I don't think you knew that before you wrote the script. And where you chose to film was one of the beach on Corrie. I spent an awful lot of my childhood just going up and down those rocks because they're incredible formations and they're geologically very important. And you just tuned into stuff like that. It's really weird.
But it's a story field, isn't it? And you're all in that field together. And we had there was so many conversations as well. I wish that Catherine was here actually. Catherine may be watching, who came up from Yorkshire, and she was the wellbeing AD there. But she would spot everything, and then she basically took everybody back to the Peacock House every night, didn't she? So she had the two sound people and Sophie, who was the second camera as well. But she'd report back all these stories of coincidences and weavings. So yeah, we should really have made a film alongside it and recorded that as well. Yeah.
Was it King's Cave that you were in?
Yeah, we went to the different ones, as you'll have seen.
I was in one of them years ago camping with a friend.
Did you stay over?
Really pitch black and windows, we went out, and I got very scared, and she was silent in her sleeping bag. When you were tossing and turning in your sleeping bag, it brought back memories of me being terrified in King's Cave, and I just got it into my head that my friend might have died. So I said to spirit angels, whoever, I said, give me a sign that Janice is still alive, and at that precise moment she went, I wondered whether we had actually slept in King's Cave during the making of the film.
No, actually need to mention David Bennett, who who looks after the land there basically. He owns Drumadoon, and he's the person that we asked permission to go to the caves, which is a great story from the first one, and who also quad biked all our kit down and back twice, and let Zen drive the quad bike as well.
That was who we were for the first film. We were trying to find a quad bike, and then we basically phoned up this campsite who got us in contact with David, who then got us the quad bike, which then ended up in this film, just as an add-on.
Yeah. But he has mentioned people going and sleeping there overnight and getting terrified actually. I've written a course about that cave as well, and I've worked with it a lot, and I've had really supernatural experiences with it, so I don't know if I dare stay there overnight. Maybe I'll get more.
Well, people do stay in caves overnight. They're pretty inhospitable, but also the filming process, you do have a lot of waiting around. So I had quite a lot of time in the sleeping bag, waiting for the shots to be lined up and for everything to be right, the sound, etc. So I got quite at home in my sleeping bag, and we filmed it again and again and again and again till Linda was in a really bad way, and you only saw a tiny bit of that. So there was quite a long time to get acquainted. Plus, personally, I did spend quite a lot of time in caves as a child. And did I tell you about the Balkans Hole? My friend did. She went for a week. My friend, my cousin, cousin Libby, told you about her. She went for a week to North High Corrie as a bet to her brother. She couldn't survive it. So I've always had my hats off to my friends, my best friends. did it for a week. So
Yeah, well done you
maybe I want to go that
staying
way.
in that UK. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Wow. Yeah, maybe we should properly go down there to sleep to make sure that we're being more true to the story.
Some rituals.
Any more questions?
The symbols, I'm as interested in what some of the symbols that you, oh, beg your pardon, sorry. The symbols that you filmed, did you find out anything about them?
Oh, no,
No?
the actors can't ask questions.
Because they're there, and you spent quite a lot of time investigating the caves and choosing the right cave and filming well, I don't really know how old they are, but there's an awful lot of evidence of people putting their mark on the stones all over the island, actually. And I thought that add a lot to it.
About symbols?
Yeah,
That we
saw.
Yeah. So I went down there a few times by myself and did lots of. I actually broke my ankle going down to shoot those. A month before the shoot, I'd honestly all the stories around that. Last
She's amazing, by the way.
but it healed in a month, which is amazing. But yeah, and I got a lot of that then. But I was just trying to go with that knowing that actually cave paintings and the symbols that are there and the animals that are there and the animals in that pitch dark space and in that trans space, those were the openings where the animal planes would have been drawn, and that's how that's the way cave paintings are. So I was trying to just really be with that as a portal, and to kind of just really attune to what those caves and what cave paintings were about as these ritualistic spaces as well. So I guess I was just being intuitive. Yeah. But I'd like to give Alexis a bit of a chance to talk about the score as well, because would you like to hear a bit about the creation of the score? Because I've said this to Alexis as well. I've only made 2 films, and Alexis has been the composer for both of them, but I don't know how I would make a fiction film without getting these amazing soundtracks that probably similar to you saying with the intuitive kind of connection. Alexis just really tunes in. I can just send a word like ancestors and something be created. But yeah, what was it like for you, Alexis, creating a score, and what's it like seeing it come together with the images as well?
Well, thanks, Carrie. That's very kind of you. Obviously, it was amazing to hear it through the big speakers there. And I should say big thanks to Gabby, who did the sound mix, and it sounded amazing. So with this film, really the first point was the song that was written, where Carrie wrote the lyrics, and then Aaron, who obviously appeared as Tam, composed the song with the guitar part, and we came together to record it with the drums. And then that was really the start of the kind of journey of composing it. And so what I was really looking for was a mix between the organic instruments, so acoustic guitar, hand drums, things like samples of bells and stones, and then mixing that with synthesizers, electronics, to give it more of an otherworldly theme. And I think that was a big difference from the previous film that we worked on, Parallel Realms, where it was more really electronic based, the score, whereas this one had a lot more kind of organic elements, and I think hopefully that played well to the images of the land, which Carrie and Ryan kind of captured so beautifully. So and also it was an honour to be involved as an actor, and I think that really gave me a big insight as to the places that we were using in the story. So I think that really helped as well to kind of bring it to life. So. Any other questions from anyone?
Yeah, I like the passive sounds that you're making or creating that kind of echo the space in the caves, resonance. And wondered if you made those sounds yourself by hitting a stick against the stone, or whether it was electronic.
Yeah, that's a really good question there. Obviously asking about the origin of the sounds. So what you hear is a mix between some of the sounds I created and then some of the sounds that obviously Gabby and Ellis recorded, on site during the shoot. But yeah, for the most part, it was kind of created. So things like when you hear the stones falling, that was me just recording stones taken together. And even in the opening bit, when Zen kind of appears, we had the pots knocking together, and I did spend a good half an hour with a synth trying to make the sound of pots coming together before I just thought, well, I've got pots, I've got a mic, so I should just do it that way. So yeah, but a lot of it is quite natural sounds. I think that does lend it a lot of realism that maybe we would get from doing it in a more electronic way. So.
Alex?
Yeah, with the sound, I don't know what you did something with the, when you're at the standing stone, and you're standing stone, and somehow it was like you conveyed sort of like the frequency of the stone, and the vibrations of the stone.
Oh, that last one, did you hear that, Alexa?
Yeah, more or less, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, when there was a use of electronic instruments, there's a lot of kind of sweeping sounds and things like that. And what I was trying to do was echo some of the film shots of the drones and so forth. So you almost get an impression of things being far away and the epicness of obviously the landscapes. And again, it would tie into some of the shots that Ryan captured as well, the way in which the landscape is a moving thing, an organic thing that kind of is almost like another actor in the piece, So, do you want to say something about some of the shots of the landscape and so forth?
No, I'm not quite sure what to say. Yeah, there is a lot of great big wide shots or ones that are a little bit closer when there's an emotional part in the script. And I was just really trying to tune in on the dialogue and the performance that you were giving at certain moments. And I was, adjusting how I was setting up the shots and how I was going about things and, the settings I was using depending on that. And then I guess, in a similar way to how you were working with the sounds afterwards.
Yeah, and I don't know, did you notice the one with the time lapse on it as well?
Oh yeah.
Because there's the time lapse one as well, and most of the landscape shots were actually filmed on this one evening when we met up with the drone camera, Simon Sloan, who I met through the Aaron artists groups over there. But a lot of the landscape shots were actually when we were at the Stones, and there's something around, just being able to see the vista, I guess, in that place as well. Do you remember you got loads of good shots there? And you were you were just taking them as you went, weren't you, as well?
Yeah. There was some shots like the time lapse one, which is kind of a specialty shot in the sense that you have to go about things differently, and it's not a very conventional. We see them in films, but it's not a very conventional shot to do. You have to set up things differently, and you have to go about the operating differently. And similarly to the shots where we're in the cave and we're sort of looking out the way, working with a really dark cave and peering out to a really bright sky is quite tough at moments. So it's a lot to think about when setting up for those shots.
Thank you, everybody. Does anybody want to say anything else? What was it like seeing it on a big screen? Did it? Julia?
I thought it was very well balanced. The poetry and the language, and the poetry and the photography, and the balance of the pace of the film. It seemed a lot longer than 15 minutes. It was quite languid in places, like relaxed, and then suddenly shifts mood. Sen and I had quite a lot of time to develop our relationship, so it's quite a lot of it. You had to end up on the cutting room floor, I think, because it's only got to be so short for the criteria that you needed. Now I hope that the relationship that we had translated to the audience, because my character really depended on Sen's character, and Sen saw Linda at her absolute worst and got her through it. So I felt as if I went on a journey while I was on the, I don't care about that word, don't say it, because don't say the journey word. I don't care. Okay, for me it actually was a transitional period, and it was great to live that story with you.
It was your return to acting as well, wasn't it? After
True. Apart from the mood singer,
acting.
I didn't believe I wanted to do it anymore. But the mood singer, well, I didn't feel so like I didn't want to do it anymore. Like I don't have anything to give you, and blah blah blah. So yeah. It was a very good. It was really a welcome. It was a part that I was able to inhabit, I think. But particularly enjoyed working with Zen.
It's always nice to see, I think, what the elements outside of what you see on the camera, how that influences the film. Because that's a space, like the rehearsals that we had and the setups and all those conversations, I think are so important. And when you can kind of sense that coming through from the background, it's really lovely to see. So seeing it in this setting, I think, brought that through a lot more. Lovely to see that relationship between our two characters.
And the weather, I think the relationship to the sea, proximity to the elements was part of the dialogue as well, which I really enjoyed. The waves, and you weren't scared to put that in. It was very elemental, I found. Anyway, would anyone else like to say anything?
Can I just say one thing quickly as well? Like, I met Gabby, who did the sound in, it must be just over a year ago, and immediately realised that we both had a really similar, what's the word? She's ill tonight, so she couldn't be here. I'm really missing her, actually. But she's, she just understands about being, and she's got such a way of being able to let the landscape be part of the conversation. And when you hear it on the 5.1, I don't know what, like you can really be in that immersive sound with it, and every single scene will take you into almost feeling like you can go into the experience through the sound as well. So I just wanted to sing Gabby's praises, and for Ryan and I, and then Jack coming in with the colour as well, just bringing that extra element in. Having such a skilled sound producer is just a dream.
She was very, very dedicated to her job, and she's a joy to work with. She's so enthusiastic about everything she did, and she really loved it, so I'm sorry she's not here, because she brought a music to it as well. She really gave that. You want to say something, Ryan? I felt as if you were going to say something.
Gabby was wonderful to work with. I mean, I've worked with her twice now, and it was great. It felt like she had a similar connection to Carrie when it came to sound as I do, with the visuals. We were all sort of on the same wavelength when it came to our different departments, and that was really important.
And I just want to say something about Ewan as well, because Ewan just came in, like, you just started film school in September. We managed to get Ewan in August before that started. And you could be a director. You just came in and just started helping with the lines for Julia and Zen, and I immediately you could just let go. So you're going to go far. You really are. I'm sorry that we couldn't have you for more of the days, but felt really, really lucky. But don't you think, Zen and Julia?
It was really. It was like really great fun working with like the actors and getting to. I don't know, just because I do writing now for university, and so it's like I guess it was really interesting just like working with actors to like through a script basically, and like I mean for the most part it was like basically just being the words escapes me, but like I was just making sure that they got every word right basically, you know, and there was times where I was like, you know, oh, I gotta just let them go for it, and like even if they forget something or if they miss that line or they change that word, you know. But yeah, it was really good fun. Basically, it was.
Thank you. Anton, did you want to say something before we finish?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Did you feel like you had enough time to make the shoot, or was there pressures and time restrictions?
There's no such thing as enough time. There's never enough time. When you're there, when I'm, you know, setting up the shot, there's, you know, I can make endless tweaks to things, you know, change the lighting endless times and make tiny little adjustments to the way I'm doing things, and you just want to get, you know, the strongest coverage of the shots you can, and try and get a bit of variety. But no, it gets to the point where you just need to, you know, be happy with what you've got, and I was very happy, but it's hard to resist the temptation to, you know, finesse tiny little details until the last minute.
You've got to connect.
Yes, truly.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. The scene with Tam and Alexis doing the song, which moves me so much. I just love the song, which Carrie wrote the lyrics to, which I get the credit for writing because my character's writing it in the cave. Then she hands it over to Tam, and Tam creates this beautiful piece with you, obviously. But I want to know which of the takes did you use, because we spent all afternoon and the audience were gathering and we were trying to give out tickets, and I was up through the night trying to like do Facebook about getting an audience and that. And the audience came and they were getting midgy bitten, and we were all sitting there with like masks on and spraying things on and trying to just and then the night was beginning to fall. The take after take after take, and each one was absolutely spot on. I didn't think it could get any better. But I just wondered if which take did you use, because it has got such an atmosphere. I think it was a bit like Burt Bacharach, you know, and I think we got it in take 3, you know. Oh no, sorry, Burt Bacharach. He was the dictator. It was George Martin that said, I think they got it in, you know, Scylla. 23 takes to do Alfie. Anyway, it was. I loved I loved what you used. I just wondered which one it was. Do you remember?
I think we just did a pastiche, to be honest, of different ones as an answer to that one. But also, I just remember Ryan, because there was going to be an audience scene. It was going to go backwards and forwards to the audience, and then just Ryan and Zen just having giggling fits going, you cannot use that. I mean, Joanna, because we didn't have enough audience, disguised Zen as an old lady. And then she disguised Julia as somebody else, but it really wasn't a disguise. And we were just like watching it going, no, we can't really use the audience scenes. And then anybody else that was there was like going like this because the midges were so bad. Yeah, it was just amazing performance by Alexis and Aaron to stay cool with all those midges, really.
And just one more, I was just wondering, other directors or filmmakers, have they influenced you? Which directors?
Yeah. So basically, when I was ill last year and couldn't do very much, you might notice I'm just obsessed with David Lynch. So I watched everything I could find. Downloaded all Twin Peaks, and and Northern Exposure as well. Actually, I really like that. Just these kind of characters where you know there's something else going on, and then the Three Colours films. Ryan and I both were influenced by that. But I love Limbo as well. That's, you know, the Scottish Island film. Is it Ben Sherratt, the director for that? So yeah, and I actually like magic realism films as well. So I think there's that element that's coming through. Yeah. But thank you, everybody. I think we can stop there and just thank you for coming along. And yeah, we've got another bit of time, so if you want to, we have to leave here at 9. But if you want to chat to anybody, we're all here. Okay. Bye.
Thanks everybody. That's the end of the scene. Good night. Thanks for watching. That was our first